Hey guys, Dr. Tirado. Just finished up a nice day, seeing some patients, a couple of new patients also. Just really quick, want to talk to you a little bit about being patient with your marketing. That's today's topic. In 30 years of running a chiropractic practice, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I can tell you is that being patient is what really builds practices. Now you're probably thinking, of course, Dr. Tirado, patients always build a practice. But I'm not talking about the patients that you treat and that you adjust. I'm talking about just having patience, overall patience in your practice. When I began my practice in my early 20s, I wanted all of my marketing to produce results instantaneously. And for that reason, I would listen to all of the gurus and do things like spinal screenings, door knockers, Groupons, well, they didn't have Groupons back then, but dinner talks, the health talks, the healthcare classes. And look, let me tell you, all those things work a little bit, right? They produce some type of results sometimes, but it also took a whole lot of work to do that. So why don't I continue doing them? Because all of those marketing things or programs that all those gurus told me to do, they all have one thing in common. They all made me look completely desperate. And they all put me in a bad position in the mind of my market. I mean, these people must have thought that I was some type of desperate chiropractor out there. It's just all those years I did that. It's crazy. What I did learn from doing all those things is that patience wins patience. Now that might be a little bit confusing, but for example, today in my office, I did 3 phone consults with a potential patient who was interested in coming into my office. Now, maybe all 3 of those patients may show up next week. All those 3 phone consults I did, they might show up next week. I don't know. Maybe only 2 of them will show up. Maybe only 1 of them will show up as a new patient. But the thing is, I won't have to sell or convince that patient or have to do a spinal screening or a dinner talk or a Groupon or anything for them to come into my office. And when they come into my office, they will already know who I am. And so I don't have to convince them into treating in my office. Usually 100% of the people that come in accept my treatment recommendations. It's really that easy. So each or all of them will want to come into my office, and they're going to ask me to set up an examination, and I'll do an exam on them, and I'll end up treating them later on. Now, I didn't just meet these 3 people. Some of these people were put on my email list probably over a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, and maybe even 3 years ago, I don't know. And maybe now finally they decided, or they got the urge, or maybe their pain hurt them enough, or maybe they got the confidence to be able to come into my office and meet me and speak to me and finally become a patient. So it takes time. So here's the big takeaway, and it's simple. Always communicate to your list. Don't ever forget your list. Don't ever stop your list. Treat them like they are family members. Continue to communicate with them on a regular basis. And just only stop when they tell you to stop sending them stuff. It's really simple. But most of all, you've got to be patient. You've got to be patient to get the patient. Be patient to get the patient. I know that deep inside of you, you may be completely impatient. And, if I could be brutally honest with you for a moment, even after 30 years in practice, I may look completely calm on the outside. I may look professional on the outside. I may be terribly good looking on the outside as well. But inside is a totally impatient little boy that can't sit still, that wants patients to come in all day long and wants their marketing to work immediately. But that's not reality. It's not reality. You've got to have patience when you're marketing, and you've got to have patience with your marketing. It's the only way you'll ever build a solid, low overhead, low stress referral practice. There's no magic to it. All the systems that I've designed in Chiro Hacker Labs have been designed to build your practice the same way that it's built mine. But You have to be patient. There's no magic bullet. That's the key. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's just something that takes time. But I'll tell you that over half of my new patients each month, you know what, they come in from referrals. They come in from being on my email list and listening to my emails. And yeah, that could be listening to the emails 1 month. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. But eventually, they finally come into my office. Can you just imagine if I ignored those people? They would never have ever come to my office, and they would have never started care inside my office. They'd maybe go to some other office. So look, don't ever ignore your list. Communicate with your list. Really take care of your list. Treat your list as if it's a list of your relatives, and communicate with your list several times a week and several times a month. And you must be using emails. You must be using videos. People don't read today. You know, they want to watch videos. That's why you take a look at YouTube. It's so big and it's growing every single year. So you've got to use video. You know what? It worked for me, and it'll work for you, and it'll work for your practice too. That's it, guys. I'm tired of going home. I'm Dr. Tirado from Chirohacker Labs. Please, if you like these types of videos, like and subscribe below. And remember, it's your life, it's your practice, so make it amazing. Peace.